when you first read the book, you were probably struck by a principle. What would be, you say, the top thing that really changed your mind?
There are two, and when I first read it, I read it as a player, and so this is one of the first lessons of how the attention brain works, which is, as a player, I had a certain interest, and so certain elements of the book stood out. And what's fascinating even today for me, 2 months later after meeting him and then knowing that I was going to read it as a coach, an entirely different set of information, aspects of the book just stood out. And I was like, I remember being surprised. Now I understand it. At the time, it just was fascinating. The first thing that happened was I was in a slump, and for me, I've always been pretty nervous when I played. I always had a strong, fear of losing, and so when I'd play, I was always pretty tense, even if I was really good. And the one thing that really created just a tremendous relaxation and sense of freedom within me was this idea that you could compete in a different way than win-lose. That there wasn't just an outcome game where, like, if you and I played Bill, one of us would win and one of us would lose. That's how tennis is designed.
Right.
But that there are two other games going on at the same time, and that is the learning game and also the enjoyment game, and that both of us could win. In the book, there's this idea of a surfer who, when he's trying to get better at surfing, he wants a wave that challenges him. And, and you and I, Bill, if we got together for tennis, and 1 week I decided that I wasn't all that interested, and I, for a variety of reasons, I don't try too hard when we play. You might win the outcome game, but we both lose the learning and enjoyment game. And that freed me up. And I would say the other element, which is I'm still learning about today, and it's the most important skill that we can learn and understand, and that's focus of attention. That when you focus the mind on something critical for success, like a tennis ball, it has two impacts. One, it quiets the mind and reduces self-interference. Plus, when you focus on something critical, you now get more high-quality, relevant information. The brain receives this information that it wasn't receiving before, and now it has this information to put the body in better position, move better, have better contact, and a clarity so that you can be more clear about your target that you want to hit the ball to. Those two things right there, the sense of freedom and being more focused, just had an immediate impact on my performance and switched me from a slump to playing the best tennis, and I played that way for quite a long time.
Yeah, that's fascinating. And while you're saying that, I'm reflecting on my interview with Torben Ulrich. And
there you go.
Okay.
He might be the first inner gamer, before Tim even wrote the book.
It's funny. It's really interesting. I mean, I think that independently, these things, or maybe there's some synchronicity between Tim and Torben, but that I don't know about. But Torben and I were talking about how sometimes winning is losing and sometimes losing is winning, and then Torben said, and sometimes it's neither.
I think he was serious about that. I actually now can understand it. I mean, it's funny.
So anyway.
Did you know that Torben's son was a tennis player and also a drummer in the heavy metal band Metallica?
Right, we got into that. Yeah. It was that was also a fascinating discussion on which road to take. And